So this is another rest day, non-football day, where a lot of the remaining fans eagerly awaiting the semi-finals and the final are taking time out to visit some of the tourist attractions. I've decided to come to Ras Abu Abud, which is about 7 miles from the center of Doha on the Arabian coast. It's about 24 degrees with a beautiful sea breeze, very comfortable. I'm in a t-shirt and it feels great. So you may have heard about this stadium. A lot's been said about the fact that it's the first temporary dismantleable stadium in the world. It's called Stadium 974. 974 is the international dialing code for Doha, and it's also used 974 shipping containers. So great planning if you ask me. And with a capacity of just over 40,000, this stadium hosted seven matches in the group stages. And whilst a lot of the organisation infrastructure is still in place, the idea is that as soon as the games are over, they'll start dismantling it, and the whole idea is then to... So interestingly, the stadium has actually been sold already. Well, the containers, the seating and the steel frame, it's been sold to Uruguay. Now Uruguay is hoping to host the 2030 World Cup. It will be 100 years of the World Cup, and they hosted the very first World Cup. So I have a strong feeling that Uruguay may well get the nod for that. So it's a huge complex. This stadium is built around a very big area on the coast, and the idea is that once the stadium is dismantled, the area is going to be rebuilt as a residential commercial mix, attracting a new community here. And this is the legacy of a lot of these stadiums and the games here in Doha, that all the stadiums will be reduced in capacity, so they've been built in such a way that they lend themselves for reducing capacity. The roofs will come off, the tiers will come off, and the seating tiers will be sold off or given to developing nations as part of their commitment to helping create a sustainable environment, sustainable world. And that's the legacy they want for Qatar 2022. So on a match day, as I said, they've had seven matches in the group stages, 40,000 capacity. So this place would have, and again, like with a lot of these stadiums, because they're built out in such vast areas, 40,000 people here, given how much space there is around it, wouldn't have felt crowded or congested at all. And that's been one of the great things about this World Cup, is no matter, even at the Lusail iconic international stadium, 90,000 people, but because it's spread across, access from all sides, private vehicles restricted, you've got great entry points straight from the metro system and into the stadium. And so this Stadium 974 would have been very easy to get to. I've just walked literally 5 minutes from the metro station, and it's a nice walk, and you might be able to see just the very the left-hand side, very left-hand side of my screen, there is a triangular building poking out. That's the Al Maha Tower, which is basically the city centre of Doha, and I've done plenty of videos covering the city centre of Doha. And Stadium 974 effectively sits on the opposite side, and once we get to the other side of the stadium, you'll be able to see the city centre quite clearly. So just to give you a view, obviously there's not many people here, just a trickle of people coming in, tourists, just to have a look around the stadium, and people like me making videos like this for you so you can see. As we get closer, you'll notice, you'll see the containers. It's shipping containers basically, they're all stacked together in a steel frame, which will dismantle very, very easily, all with the FIFA Qatar 2022 branding, giving it a very nice soft feel about the whole place, away from the industrial look that the containers give. There's a fair few tourists here, fans, people who watch games here, but also people who simply come in to have a look and see the stadium that they've heard so much about. We've got a giant replica of the World Cup here, where everybody's taking pictures, memories, lots of frames and things to be able to get those beautiful memories, snaps. I've taken pictures for about a dozen people. Everybody seems to be coming over to say, can you take a picture, can you take a picture? So, which is nice. So many people here who are just very, very polite and gentle, and seem to be happy and enjoying themselves. And that's unlike a lot of other tournaments I've been to, where there's tension and stress associated with traveling from one place to another. You know, there is all sorts of other unruly stuff, behavior, alcohol, hooliganism, vandalism, all sorts of things. There's none of this stuff here. It's simply a very relaxed atmosphere. Okay, it's not match day, but again, even the people that have come here, this is very, very relaxed, and just enjoying this gentle atmosphere and this stadium. Just to give you a bit of context in terms of size and scale of this complex. The white building at the back there, beyond that is the metro station. So it's a huge, huge area, and these balls effectively wrap around the complex, and you can see at the back of these gates the Doha skyline. That's West Bay, and it just goes round and round. And eventually this whole area would be developed for residential, commercial, living, businesses. So very much the infrastructure has been put in as part of the games, and of course they will then come back and just build around it to create the communities and the spaces for living. So once again, great forward thinking, forward planning. Not just simply a case of sticking a stadium in the middle of nowhere and then dismantling it and moving on, leaving a great big hole. But actually this is about making best use of the area and the facilities now, and also planning ahead so that the future occupies, the area is occupied by people in the future, and making best use of a metro stadium on the metro station on their doorstep, and a park. And of course, because it's on the coast, literally beyond those trees is the Arabian Gulf. There's a beautiful walk across there, parallel to the road where the cars are going. So like with all the stadiums, there are very big, obvious signs, names, like this one, Stadium 974, FIFA branding everywhere. Spectators' entrances, I understand from somebody here that they may allow this stadium to remain in situ for a couple of years before dismantling. They may have some other tournaments, Asian Cup games, Asian Champions League, that sort of thing. I don't know the facts about that, but this is as close we're going to get to it. I can try and you can see effectively what they are. Even the ticket booths, entrance security points, everything is made out of containers. It is a genius idea, and one that we ought to consider in other parts of the world for major competitions, because one of the biggest problems we've seen in South Africa and in Brazil and in other places, these stadiums that end up sitting there not being used to capacity and deteriorate and basically start growing weed and you know, submerged. A lot of recent stadiums in Brazil and South Africa, which are obviously built for the competition, but these countries, especially in South Africa, where the league isn't particularly strong and the teams don't pull in as big crowds, of course, and the stadiums are then half empty, and of course they're sitting there not being used, made use of, and eventually fall into disrepair, as has been the case in Brazil. So this idea of temporary stadium which can be dismantled and used for others is a great way to reuse material and ideas and provide an efficient, sustainable way of hosting competitions in and around the world. As I said earlier in the video, that Uruguay were hoping to host the 2030 World Cup, the Centenary World Cup, have already got agreement with Qatar to buy this stadium, dismantle it, and then take it in bits back to Uruguay and put it together again, and no doubt somebody else will want it afterwards. So that's a quick tour. This is the stadium sign. It looked like 10-12 feet size lettering. This is the way everything is done these days everywhere. Every major city has these things. Every stadium in Doha, you've seen the names of all the countries on the across the corniche on another video, and it's great. It's great labeling, it's branding, and it's good to identify, and of course great for tourists to take the pictures and the shots and memories. There we are, Stadium 974. That's a short tour done. Hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of background about what it is, and then I'm going to be heading off to the beach and just to see what that's got to offer, followed by a trip back to the souk and maybe a video of the various mosques that are there, because I want to have a chat to you about the role that Qatari culture and religion has played in this World Cup, and how that's been viewed by the people that are visiting here, and how it's been received by the media around the world. So that should be an interesting discussion and some comments which you may be interested. So over and out from Stadium 974.